Hey, it's Kevin from 18 Knots, and I thought today we'd look at creating a map of your cruise. So what we'll do is open up a spreadsheet in Google Sheets, and what we're going to do is store one row for each of the ports that we visit. So let's open a new spreadsheet, and once the spreadsheet is open, we can start typing. What we want to do is, again, one row for each of the ports you visited. What we're going to do this time is just use the port name uh, to locate the ports. Um, Usually I would use latitude and longitude, but assuming that you don't have a GPS with you, you can do this just as well. Either one will work. What I usually do is have a marker that will identify each of the stops, and then I give it a short name, the location, um, usually the date that we visited there, and then if there's any notes that I want to add as well. And so for that, I'll add one line for each of the ports that we visit. So I'll finish typing this, hopefully without very many errors. This is actually our Christmas cruise for this year, so this is planning at this point, but it will show you the process. And then in another video, I'm planning to show you how you can also do it with latitudes and longitudes, and we'll talk about capturing that information if you want to try navigating while you're on the ship as well. So again, what we're just going to do here is use city and state or a city and country for the islands in the Caribbean, um, and that will identify all of the places that we're going to go. I think I'm almost finished typing. Almost, he says. So this is relatively short cruise. It's a 7-day cruise, but there's 3 sea days involved, so there's not a lot of stops, but it will still give you the idea of what we're doing. Um, and again, this is Google Sheets, which you have access to if you have a Gmail account. Um, and the reason that I use that is because it's tied directly to Google Maps, which is what we're going to be using next. I usually, if I'm doing latitude and longitude, I'll um, capture them outside, and then I'll build the spreadsheet once I get home. Um, and again, we'll look at that down the road. So that should be all of our stops. And at this point, we can try to look at a map. So this is Google Maps, and there's actually the URL is from My Maps. You can create a new map, give it a name, something that will help it be identified with all of your other cruises, because I know once you do this, you'll probably do it for all of them. Um, put in a description as well, and then you can save that off. And then we're going to import data. And what we're going to import from is Google Docs, and then we're just going to pick the sheet that we just created. And what this will do is load it and then show you all of the columns. And what you have to do is pick the column that identifies where the place is. So in this case, it's the full name and location, um, or it could be a latitude and longitude. And what that will do is populate the map. So these are all of our stops. What we need to do is use the same format for all of them, and we're probably also going to turn on um, the markers so we can see where they are. And then what I usually do is find the anchor icon because I like it, and we'll use the anchor to identify all the ports. So now you can see the anchors are there. Change the color if you want, and you can get rid of that. And that's basically your map. Um, this is just for you, of course. Um, we're going to change the name. And again, in my case, you could use the marker. You could use the name, the short name that you gave it. You could use the date to show what order the ports were visited in. It's really up to you. This is just an idea of all the different icons that are available. If you don't want to use an anchor, you can pick something else out of the list. Um, and as long as you have them all using the same format, when you pick one, it'll change it for all of them. Now what we're going to do is clean this up a little bit, um, make sure that everything's readable. I think that was one of the challenges I've had with a couple of them is if you pick the wrong color, um, you won't see it. And I'll put this back to marker because otherwise it's telling you where you are and you should know where you are from the map. If you click on one of them, it'll show you all the information that's in the table. So that's also how you can find your notes, which was the only thing that's not being used. And so as you click each one in turn, it will show you when you were there, what it is, and any notes that you had from the port. Um, Usually, um, I would also have the ship name just to keep track because we've been on multiple ships that have gone to the same port. Um, and then you can also save it, and then you can also share it. This is what it looks like when it's shared. So this is what anyone that has the URL can see. And then if you click, it will bring up all the information about an individual stop. And if you back up again, it will show you the full map. So if you want to be able to share it with your friends to show them where you were, that is what you do. And then anybody can go out to the URL that's given um, and see all of the stops that you had. You can also embed it. We can look at that later to embed this on your own website. And hopefully that was a short and sweet introduction to how to create your own map from the cruise that you just took. Happy sailing.